What would you do if your husband forced an open marriage, cheated, and brought home an STD while your family mocked you for it? I'm Emily, a 45-year-old bank manager in Seattle, Washington, and that's the betrayal that shattered my 25-year marriage. Nathan slept with Sophia, a restaurant manager, while our daughter Willow humiliated me at our anniversary for not having more children. At a family dinner, I exposed Nathan's affair and disease, taking a revenge that broke them all. Watch this true infidelity story to see how I turned their lies into their downfall. Some betrayals don't just hurt, they rip your world apart, leaving you to question every moment of trust you thought you had. I'm Emily, a 45-year-old bank manager from Seattle, Washington, and I never imagined I'd become the kind of woman who'd seek revenge. Not until my husband of 25 years turned our marriage into a cruel game. Nathan was my rock, a man I'd built a life with, raising our daughter Willow and creating what I thought was an unbreakable family. But on a hot August day in 2025, just before our 25th anniversary, I walked into a storm that would shatter everything I believed in. It all began at our anniversary party, a night that was supposed to celebrate our love, but instead became the stage for my deepest humiliation. My parents had hosted the event at their elegant home in Seattle's Capitol Hill, a grand affair with twinkling lights, a string quartet, and a crowd of our closest friends and family. I stood beside Nathan, my heart swelling with pride as I looked at him. His sharp features, his confident smile, the way he held my hand like we were still those young lovers from 25 years ago. We'd been through so much together, the joy of raising Willow, the struggles of building our careers, the quiet moments that made our life feel whole. But one thing had always haunted me. After Willow, I couldn't have more children, and Nathan's family had never let me forget it. That night, as the guests raised their glasses for a toast, Nathan took the microphone, his voice booming through the room. I expected a loving speech, something to honor our journey. But what came next hit me like a slap in the face. "We're here to celebrate 25 years with Emily," he began, his smile wide but his eyes cold as they locked onto me. "But let's be real. She's never been the wife I deserved, has she? She couldn't even give me the big family I wanted, just one daughter and then nothing." The crowd fell silent, gasps cutting through the air as my face burned with shame, my hands trembling at my sides. Willow, standing nearby, smirked, her voice dripping with mockery as she added, "Yeah, Mom, you really let us down. A real wife would have given Dad more kids to make him proud, but I guess you just weren't up to it." Laughter erupted, cruel, biting laughter that felt like 1,000 needles piercing my heart, each one deeper than the last. I turned to Nathan, my voice breaking as I whispered, "How could you say that in front of everyone?" He rolled his eyes, his tone sharp and dismissive. "Don't be so sensitive, Emily. It's just a joke. Get over it." I stumbled away from the party, tears streaming down my face, the weight of their words crushing me as I hid in the garden, my chest so tight I could barely breathe. How could they humiliate me like this, I thought, my hands shaking as I wiped my tears. After everything I've given them, they mock me for something I couldn't control? That night, I cried myself to sleep, the sting of their betrayal searing into my soul. But I told myself I could endure it, for Nathan, for our family, for the life we'd built. I was wrong. Just days later, on August 27th, I came home early from the bank, hoping to surprise Nathan with plans for a getaway to celebrate our anniversary on September 1st. The air was thick with summer heat, the sun glaring down on Seattle, but I felt a flicker of hope as I walked into our kitchen. Nathan was there, standing by the counter, his expression unreadable, while Willow sat at the table, her eyes gleaming with a strange excitement. The air felt heavy, charged with a tension that made my stomach twist, like they'd been waiting for me. I set my purse down, forcing a smile. "Hey, what's going on?" I asked, my voice casual, despite the unease creeping up my spine. Nathan motioned to a chair, his voice soft but firm. "Emily, please sit." Willow's gaze darted between us, a triumphant smirk tugging at her lips. "Mom, we need to talk." I sat, my hands clasped in my lap, my heart pounding as I looked from Nathan to Willow. "All right," I said, my voice steady despite the growing knot in my chest. "I'm listening." Nathan took a deep breath, his words coming out with a quiet determination that sent a chill through me. "We're hitting 25 years in 5 days, Emily. I need a change." He paused, his eyes searching mine, then continued, his voice cutting deeper with every word. "I've been thinking about what I want out of life. These have been good years, I guess, but I want to explore something else." I frowned, my voice trembling as I tried to process his words. "What do you mean by something else?" Willow jumped in, her tone almost gleeful, like she was announcing a grand achievement. "Dad wants an open marriage, and I think it's a great idea." She leaned forward, her eyes bright with excitement. "Modern couples do this, Mom. Everyone does. Physical stuff doesn't matter. You just need to trust each other." I turned to my daughter, her words about trust hitting me like a betrayal all over again, a bitter echo of the humiliation at the party. "You're telling me modern couples everywhere are doing this? Really?" Willow nodded, her tone condescending, like she was explaining something obvious to a child. "You're so old-fashioned, Mom. Love isn't about being physically exclusive anymore. If you really love each other, you'll let each other be free." Inside, my heart burned, a quiet anger simmering beneath my calm exterior, but I kept my face neutral. How could they do this to me? I thought, my mind racing with a mix of disbelief and pain. First, they humiliate me for not having more children, and now they want to throw our marriage away like it means nothing? I turned to Nathan, my voice low but firm. "Is this how you feel?" He bit his lip, his eyes shifting away from mine, unable to meet my gaze. "Emily, I just need a change. I'm not unhappy, I'm just bored with this." He paused, then added, his words slicing through me like a knife. "Doing the same thing, sleeping with the same woman. I want something new." The casual disregard in his voice twisted something deep inside me, a sharp pain I hadn't felt in years. "He's bored with me?" I thought, my heart pounding as I clenched my hands under the table. After 25 years, after everything I've given him, he's bored? I wanted to stand up, to walk away, to escape the suffocating weight of his words, but I stayed, forcing myself to stay calm. "So this is your plan?" I asked, my voice colder now. "You date other women and I do what? Sit at home? Wave goodbye as you head out with them?" Willow scoffed, her voice dripping with mockery. "Stop being so dramatic, Mom. You can date too. Nobody's stopping you." She smirked, her next words cutting deeper than I thought possible. "But let's be honest, it might be a challenge for you. You'll probably need an app or something, but hey, you can figure it out." They both laughed, their laughter a cruel echo of the party, making me feel like a joke in their twisted game. I clasped my hands, exhaling slowly, trying to keep the storm inside me at bay. Is there already someone you have in mind, Nathan? I asked, my voice steady but my eyes piercing into his. He hesitated, just for a moment, then nodded, his voice barely above a whisper. It's Sophia Miller. She manages that upscale restaurant on Avenue Street. Willow leaned forward, her excitement palpable. Oh my God, Dad, I love your taste. She's so stunning. Good for you. The name hit me like a punch. Sophia, the woman I'd met at countless dinners, always smiling, always charming, now sleeping with my husband. Of course it's her, I thought, my mind flashing back to the dinners, the way she'd linger near Nathan, her laughter too familiar. How long has this been going on? I forced an even tone, my years of keeping composure at the bank kicking in. Count, breathe, don't let them see you break. I see you two have planned this well, I said, my voice devoid of emotion. So, Willow, you're telling me that if Sophia wants to date your father, you're all right with it? She flashed an easy smile, her tone mocking. Of course, Mom. Don't be such a relic. I said nothing, rising from my chair and walking to the sink, letting the silence stretch as their laughter faded. They have no idea what they've just unleashed, I thought, my hands gripping the edge of the counter. They thought I'd stay quiet, that I'd accept this betrayal like I'd accepted their humiliation at the party. They were wrong. This was only the beginning, and I'd make sure they paid for every moment of pain they inflicted on me. The kitchen confrontation left me reeling, my husband's words echoing in my mind like a cruel taunt. I'm bored with this, sleeping with the same woman. I'm Emily, a 45-year-old bank manager from Seattle, Washington, and I'd just been blindsided by Nathan, the man I'd loved for 25 years, as he demanded an open marriage. Our daughter, Willow, cheered him on, mocking me as old-fashioned, their laughter a bitter echo of the humiliation I'd faced at our 25th anniversary party just days earlier. Nathan's family had shamed me for not giving him more children, their words slicing through me in front of everyone we knew. And now this, Nathan admitting he was already seeing Sophia Miller, a restaurant manager I'd met countless times. As I stood by the kitchen sink, my hands gripping the counter to keep from trembling, I felt a storm brewing inside me, a storm of rage, betrayal, and a desperate need to reclaim my dignity. How could he do this to me? I thought, my heart pounding as their laughter faded into the background. After everything we've built, after 25 years of loyalty, he's bored? And Willow, my own daughter, siding with him, laughing at me like I'm nothing. I knew I couldn't let this stand, not after the public humiliation, not after this betrayal. But I also knew I couldn't confront them head on, not yet. I needed a plan, something to protect myself, to turn their game against them. I forced a calm exterior, my years of managing high-stakes deals at the bank kicking in. Count, breathe, don't let them see you break. I see, I said, my voice colder than I felt, turning to face Nathan. So you've already made up your mind. You're with Sophia Miller now. Nathan shrugged, his smirk infuriatingly casual. Yeah, I've been seeing her for a while. She's exciting, Emily, something you haven't been in years. Willow snickered, her tone dripping with mockery. Come on, Mom, don't be such a prude. Dad deserves to have some fun. You should too. I ignored Willow, focusing on Nathan, my voice steady despite the fire burning inside me. If this is what you want, fine. But we're doing this on my terms. Nathan raised an eyebrow, his smirk faltering for the first time. What do you mean your terms? I straightened, my resolve hardening as I spoke. This house is in my name. thanks to the prenup we signed at my father's insistence. If you want an open marriage, I'll agree, but I set the ground rules for how we live here." I paused, letting my words sink in, then continued. "If that's not acceptable, you can find another place to live. Both of you." Willow's jaw dropped, her bravado crumbling as she stammered, "You can't be serious, Mom. This is Dad's house, too." Nathan held up a hand, silencing her, his expression darkening. "She's right, Willow. We signed a prenup. The house is hers." He turned to me, his voice low and tense. "What kind of rules are we talking about?" I met his gaze, my voice unwavering. "You'll see. I'll have my lawyer draw up a postnuptial agreement. If you want to play this game, we play by my rules." Nathan's eyes narrowed, but he nodded, a flicker of unease crossing his face. "Fine. Do what you have to do." Willow huffed, crossing her arms, her tone petulant. "You're just trying to control him, Mom. That's so pathetic." I ignored her, walking out of the kitchen with my head held high. But inside, I was a whirlwind of emotions. Anger, hurt, and a growing determination to make them pay. They think I'm weak, that I'll just roll over and accept this, I thought, climbing the stairs to my bedroom. They have no idea who they're dealing with. The next day, I called my lawyer, Rachel Bennett, a sharp, no-nonsense woman I'd known since my banking days. She'd handled countless high-stakes contracts for me, and I knew she'd relish a challenge like this. I met her at her office in downtown Seattle, the city still sweltering under the late August heat, my mind racing as I laid out the situation. "Nathan wants an open marriage," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. "He's already sleeping with Sophia Miller, and Willow's supporting him. They've even mocked me for not giving Nathan more children." Rachel's eyes narrowed, her pen tapping against her notepad. "That's a hell of a betrayal, Emily. Why not just file for divorce?" I shook my head, a cold resolve settling over me. Divorce is too easy. I want to see how far he'll take this, and I want him to feel the consequences of his choices. Rachel smirked, her expression one of admiration. "You're tougher than you look. All right, let's do this. What kind of agreement are we talking about?" I laid out my plan, a rock-solid postnup that would protect my assets and set strict boundaries. I want to spell out property rights, disposal of assets, and monthly STD testing. No allowance for extramarital partners in my home, and if he files for divorce during this open marriage, he forfeits all alimony and spousal support. Rachel let out a low whistle, her eyes scanning my notes. "You're going for the jugular, aren't you? This is airtight. Nathan won't have a leg to stand on if he tries to fight it." I nodded, my resolve unwavering. He wanted freedom. I'm giving it to him, but on my terms. 2 days later, we gathered in Rachel's office. Me, Nathan, Willow, and Nathan's lawyer, a slick man named Daniel, who looked like he'd stepped out of a courtroom drama. Daniel's expression grew darker with each page of the postnup, his voice icy as he slapped the paperwork onto the table. "This states that if Nathan files for divorce while this open marriage agreement is in effect, he forfeits all possible alimony or spousal support." He glared at me, his tone sharp.
He cannot claim the house, the business, and he's barred from bringing any partner to the marital home, including Sophia or anyone else. Nathan frowned, his voice tense. "Emily, that's too much. No support at all?" I met his gaze, my voice cold and unyielding. "If you walk out on me for your new lover, why should I finance that? I'm upholding the prenup we signed 25 years ago. This just clarifies the open marriage you wanted." Willow jumped in, her voice sharp with indignation. "You're humiliating him, Mom. This is disgusting." I turned to her, my eyes narrowing. No, Willow, your father is free to do what he wants. You told me love isn't about money, so I'm sure he can handle a date or two. I leaned forward, my voice dripping with sarcasm. And if Sophia is as successful as you claim, she won't let him pay for anything anyway, right? Nathan's jaw clenched, but he forced a nod, his voice tight. Fine, I'll sign. Daniel shook his head, muttering under his breath, It's borderline unconscionable. But Nathan waved him off. Let's just finalize it, he said, his tone defiant. As he signed the papers, his pen strokes a silent challenge. Willow glared at me, her arms crossed, her voice low and bitter. You're going to regret this, Mom. I met her gaze, my heart hardening with every word. They think they've won, I thought, watching Nathan's smug expression as he handed the papers back to Rachel. They have no idea what I'm capable of. Over the next few weeks, I went on autopilot, managing deals at the bank, attending meetings, keeping up appearances. But inside, a plan was forming, a cold, methodical strategy to make Nathan pay. He wasted no time arranging his dates with Sophia, while Willow cheered him on, mocking me at every turn. Dad's living her best life, Mom, she'd say, smirking over dinner. You should try Tinder. Maybe you'll find someone who can handle a relic like you. Each jab fueled my rage, but I kept my composure, biding my time. I reached out to James Miller, Sophia's father, a restaurateur I'd met through Nathan's business dealings. James was older, steady, and had always been kind to me at events, but I knew he disapproved of Sophia's reckless behavior. I called him, my voice calm but purposeful. James, it's Emily. I need to talk about Nathan and Sophia. He agreed to meet me for coffee, his voice tinged with curiosity. When we sat down at a quiet cafe in Seattle's Belltown, I laid out the truth. Nathan's affair, the open marriage, the way Sophia was entangled in it all. James's jaw tightened, his voice low with anger. I knew she was up to something, but this is disgusting. What do you need from me, Emily? I leaned forward, my resolution unwavering. I need your help to make them pay. And I have an idea, something that'll hit them where it hurts. They think I'm a relic, a pushover, I thought, a cold smile tugging at my lips as James nodded in agreement. But they're about to learn just how wrong they are. Nathan and Willow had ignited a fire in me, and I was ready to burn their world to the ground. The weeks following Nathan's open marriage demand felt like a descent into a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I'm Emily, a 45-year-old bank manager from Seattle, Washington, and I'd been shattered by the betrayal of my husband of 25 years, Nathan, who'd forced an open marriage on me just days after he and our daughter, Willow, humiliated me at our 25th anniversary party for not having more children. Now, with a post-nuptial agreement in place to protect my assets, I'd begun a calculated counterattack, starting a relationship with James Miller, Sophia's father, the woman Nathan was cheating with, to hit them where it hurt. But as I dug deeper into Nathan's affair, I uncovered a plot so sinister, so vile, that it turned my rage into a weapon. And the stage was set for a confrontation that would destroy them all. Nathan wasted no time diving into his affair with Sophia, the restaurant manager he'd been seeing behind my back for months. He'd come home late, reeking of her perfume, his smug smile a constant reminder of his betrayal, while Willow cheered him on like it was a game. "Dad's living his best life, Mom," Willow would say, smirking over breakfast, her tone dripping with mockery. "You should get out there too. Maybe someone will take pity on a relic like you." Each taunt was a dagger, but I kept my composure, my banker's instincts guiding me. Stay calm, gather evidence, strike when the time is right. They think I'm weak, that I'll just accept this, I thought as my hands trembled as I poured my coffee, pretending their words didn't cut me to the core.
but they don't know I'm building a case that'll ruin them. I'd already taken the first step, aligning with James Miller, Sophia's father, who was just as furious about the affair as I was. James had been a steady presence at Nathan's business dinners, a man I'd always respected for his quiet dignity. And when I told him about Sophia and Nathan, his anger mirrored mine. "I knew she was trouble," he'd said over coffee in Belltown, his voice low with rage. "But this is unforgivable. What do you want to do, Emily?" I'd laid out my plan to expose Nathan and Sophia, to make them pay for their betrayal. But I needed more than just James' support. I needed proof, something undeniable that would shatter their facade and leave them with nowhere to hide.
I started by digging into Nathan's digital footprint, something my years at the bank had taught me to do with precision. I accessed our shared accounts, scrolling through his emails, his messages, anything I could find. That's when I stumbled on a thread of texts between Nathan and Sophia, hidden in an app he thought I'd never check. The messages were a gut punch. Nathan telling Sophia, "Once we get Emily to sign over her savings after the wedding anniversary, we can ditch her and start fresh." Sophia replied, "She's so clueless. She'll never see it coming. We'll take everything and leave her with nothing." I froze, the words searing into my brain like a brand, my hands shaking as I saved the screenshots to a secure drive. They're not just cheating, they're planning to rob me blind, I thought, my heart pounding with a mix of rage and betrayal. After 25 years, Nathan wants to take everything I've worked for and run off with her? But that wasn't all I found. A few days later, I noticed Nathan acting strange. He was pale, restless, popping pills when he thought I wasn't looking. I confronted him one evening in our bedroom, my voice calm, but my eyes sharp. "You don't look well, Nathan. What's going on?" He flinched, his voice defensive as he avoided my gaze. "It's nothing, Emily, just stress from work." I didn't buy it, not for a second. He's hiding something serious, I thought, my suspicion growing as I watched him fidget. I've known him for 25 years. I can tell when he's lying. I waited until he left for another date with Sophia, then searched his side of the bathroom, my hands trembling as I opened his medicine cabinet. There it was, a prescription bottle with his name on it, but the label was partially torn, the medication name unreadable. I pulled out my phone, my fingers shaking as I tried to look up what it could be, my heart sinking with every possibility I found. Antibiotics? But for what? Is he sick? Is it something worse? Something he's brought into our home? I thought, my mind racing with dread as I pocketed the bottle. I didn't have the answer yet, but I knew I'd find out, and when I did, I'd make sure he paid for whatever he was hiding. I called James again, my voice steady despite the rage burning inside me. "James, I found something. Nathan's taking some kind of medication, but I don't know what it is yet. And he's planning to steal my savings with Sophia." James's voice was a low growl, his anger palpable even over the phone. "That's despicable. We'll get to the bottom of this, Emily. What do you want to do?" I took a deep breath, my resolve hardening with every word. "I want to expose them at a family dinner in front of everyone. I want them to feel the shame they've put me through. But I need your help to make it happen." James didn't hesitate, his voice firm with determination. "You've got it. Let's make sure they can't run from this." We spent the next few days planning, gathering every piece of evidence we could. Nathan's text with Sophia, hotel receipts, even a recorded conversation James had with Sophia where she bragged about stealing Nathan because I was too boring to keep him satisfied. Each piece of evidence was a dagger, but instead of breaking me, it fueled me, turning my pain into a weapon. I'm not the weak woman they think I am, I thought, my hands steady as I saved everything to a secure drive. They wanted to destroy me, but I'll destroy them first. The family dinner was set for the following weekend, a gathering at my parents' house in Capitol Hill to celebrate our 25th anniversary. A cruel irony given the state of our marriage. Nathan and Willow thought they'd won, that I had accepted their open marriage and moved on, but they had no idea what was coming. I met with James the day before, my voice calm but my eyes burning with determination. "We'll do it during the toast," I said, my plan clear in my mind. "I'll play the recording, show the text, and reveal whatever Nathan's hiding with that medication. Let them face the shame in front of everyone." James nodded, his expression fierce. "They won't know what hit them. I'll be there to back you up, Emily." As I drove home, my heart pounded with a mix of fear and anticipation, the weight of what I was about to do settling over me. They humiliated me at our anniversary party, mocked me for not having more children, and now this? I thought, my hands gripping the steering wheel. But I'm done being their victim. They'll pay for every tear, every lie, every moment of pain. Nathan and Willow had ignited a fire in me, and at that family dinner, I'd make sure their world burned to the ground. The night of the family dinner felt like the calm before a storm, every moment heavy with the weight of what I was about to unleash. I'm Emily, a 45-year-old bank manager from Seattle, Washington, and I'd been through hell, humiliated by my husband Nathan and our daughter Willow at our 25th anniversary party for not having more children, forced into an open marriage, and betrayed as Nathan slept with Sophia Miller, a restaurant manager. I'd uncovered his plot to steal my assets with Sophia, and I suspected he was hiding something worse, a health issue he'd kept secret, putting me at risk. With the help of James Miller, Sophia's father, I'd gathered damning evidence, text messages, hotel receipts, and a voice recording. Tonight, at my parents' house in Capitol Hill, I'd expose them all in front of everyone they cared about, ensuring they'd feel the shame they'd forced on me. As I drove to the dinner, my hands gripped the steering wheel, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and resolve. They think I'm broken, that I'll stay silent like I always have, I thought, glancing at the USB drive in my purse, loaded with evidence. But tonight, they'll see what I'm really capable of. The dining room at my parents' house was warm and elegant, the long tables set with fine china, candles flickering softly as the aroma of roast lamb filled the air. My parents, Richard and Margaret, sat at the head of the table, chatting with my brother David, his wife Lisa, and a few close family friends, people Nathan had always tried to impress. Nathan was there, looking every bit the perfect husband, and his tailored blazer, his charming smile plastered on as he poured wine for the guests. Willow sat beside him, smirking at me as I walked in, her eyes gleaming with the same mockery she'd shown at the anniversary party. Sophia wasn't there. She had no place at a family dinner, but I knew Nathan had been with her just hours ago, his smugness a silent taunt. I took my seat across from Nathan, my expression calm but my pulse racing, the USB drive burning a hole in my purse. James had arrived earlier, his presence a quiet reassurance as he sat near my parents, his face a mask of controlled anger. We'd planned every detail. I'd wait until the toast, then play the recording, show the text, and reveal whatever Nathan was hiding, letting him and Willow face the humiliation they deserved. My mother raised her glass, her voice warm as she began the toast. "We're here to celebrate family, to honor the love and commitment that binds us." I stood, my voice cutting through hers like a blade, my hand steady despite the storm inside me. "Stop," I said, my words echoing through the room as every head turned to me. "There's something you all need to hear before we celebrate anything." Nathan's smile vanished, his eyes narrowing as he set down his glass. "What the hell are you doing, Emily?" he hissed, his voice low but furious, his gaze darting to the guests. Willow smirked, leaning back in her chair, her tone mocking. "Oh, come on, Mom, don't make a scene. You're embarrassing yourself again." I ignored them, pulling the USB drive from my purse and plugging it into the laptop connected to the dining room's projector, a setup my dad used for family slideshows. "I'm not the one who should be embarrassed," I said, my voice trembling with rage but unwavering. "Nathan and Willow have something they'd like to share with you all, don't they?" The screen lit up behind me and I hit play, the voice recording of Sophia filling the room, her words chilling in their clarity.
"I stole Nathan because Emily's too boring to keep him satisfied. She couldn't even give him more children." Sophia's voice echoed, followed by a laugh that made my stomach churn. Gasp rippled through the room, my mother's hand flying to her mouth as my father's face darkened with shock. I switched to the text messages, projecting them for all to see. Nathan's words to Sophia. "Once we get Emily to sign over her savings after the anniversary, we can ditch her and start fresh." Sophia's reply. "She's so clueless. She'll never see it coming." The room erupted, shouts of disbelief and outrage filling the air as the guest turned to Nathan, his face pale with shock, his hands clenching into fists. "That's not true," Nathan shouted, standing so fast his chair toppled over. "Those messages are fake. She's lying." Willow jumped in, her voice shrill with panic. "Yeah, Mom's just bitter because Dad wanted to live a little. She's making this up." I pointed to the screen, my voice rising with every word. "Nathan didn't just cheat. He planned to steal everything I've worked for, to take my savings and leave me with nothing." James stood up, his voice a low growl as he stepped forward, his presence commanding the room. "I'm James Miller, Sophia's father, and I can confirm every word Emily's saying. I confronted Sophia this morning. She admitted Nathan wasn't just after your savings. He's drowning in debt from a failed investment, Emily, and he planned to pin it on you, to leave you with nothing, not even the house." The room gasped, my father's face darkening with fury as Nathan's expression turned to panic. "That's a lie," Nathan shouted, his voice shaking, but the fear in his eyes betrayed him. I held up the prescription bottle I'd found, my voice steady as I dropped the final blow. "And there's more. James found out something else. Nathan's been taking antibiotics for chlamydia. He got it from Sophia, and he didn't even tell me, putting my health at risk." The room fell silent, the weight of my words hitting like a thunderclap, every eye on Nathan as his face turned crimson, his hands trembling. My father stood up, his voice trembling with rage.
"Is this true, Nathan? You put my daughter's health at risk. You brought a disease into this family." Nathan stammered, his voice shaking as he tried to deflect. I didn't know. I mean, it's not what you think." James's voice cut through, sharp and unforgiving. "My daughter admitted it herself. She didn't care who she hurt. But you, Nathan, you dragged her into this filth, and now you've destroyed 2 families. You should be ashamed." My mother turned to Willow, her voice sharp with disbelief. "And you, Willow? How could you support this? You mocked your own mother for this filth." Willow shrank in her seat, her bravado gone, her voice a whisper. I didn't know about the STD or the debt. I just thought Dad deserved to be happy." I turned to her, my voice breaking with years of pain and betrayal. "Happy? You humiliated me at our anniversary party for not having more children, cheered him on while he slept with Sophia, and now you're sorry? You both thought you could break me, but you're wrong." Nathan lunged toward me, his voice a snarl, his face contorted with rage. "You'll pay for this, Emily. You're nothing without me. Nothing." James stepped between us, his voice a low warning, "Back off, Nathan. You've done enough damage." My father grabbed Nathan's arm, his voice trembling with fury. "Get out of my house now! You're not welcome here anymore." Nathan yanked his arm free, his eyes wild as he turned to Willow, his voice desperate. "Let's go, Willow. We don't need them." Willow hesitated, her face pale, but followed Nathan out, the door slamming behind them as the room fell into a stunned silence. I sank into my chair, my hands trembling as the adrenaline faded, the weight of what I'd just done settling over me. They thought they could destroy me, I thought, tears burning in my eyes as my mother reached for my hand, her touch a quiet comfort.
But I've taken everything from them. Their lies, their facade, their pride. The family dinner had turned into a battlefield, and I'd won. But the war wasn't over yet. Nathan and Willow would face more than just public humiliation. I was ready to take this fight to the end, to make sure they paid for every tear, every lie, every moment of pain they'd inflicted on me.
The silence that followed Nathan and Willow's exit from my parents' dining room was deafening, the weight of what I'd just done settling over me like a heavy fog. I'm Emily, a 45-year-old bank manager from Seattle, Washington, and I just exposed my husband Nathan's affair with Sophia Miller at a family dinner, revealing not only his plot to steal my assets and pin his debts on me, but also the chlamydia he'd contracted, a betrayal that endangered my health and shattered our 25-year marriage. Our daughter Willow had cheered Nathan on, mocking me for not having more children at our anniversary party. But tonight, I'd turned their world upside down, with James Miller, Sophia's father, by my side to back me up. As I sat back down, my hands trembling, my mother reached for me, her grip tight but comforting. "Emily, I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion, tears glistening in her eyes. "We had no idea. We trusted him." My father stood, his face still red with anger, his voice shaking as he spoke. "He's done here. Nathan will never set foot in this family again, not after what he's done to you." The guests around the table murmured in agreement, their shocked whispers filling the room, some condemning Nathan, others pitying me. But I felt none of it. All I felt was a hollow victory, the rage that had fueled me now giving way to a deep, aching sadness. They thought they could break me, I thought, staring at the untouched plate of food in front of me, my hands still trembling. But I've broken them instead, and now I'm left with the pieces. The fallout hit Nathan and Willow hard, their lives unraveling in the days that followed. News of Nathan's affair, his debts, and the STD scandal spread through Seattle like wildfire, destroying his reputation as a lawyer overnight. Clients dropped him, unwilling to work with the man who'd brought such disgrace upon himself. And last I heard, he'd moved to Tacoma, working a low-paying job at a small firm, his once bright career in tatters, his debts a constant burden. Willow's world crumbled too. Her friends turned on her when the truth came out, calling her a disgrace for siding with her father, and she dropped out of college, unable to handle the shame. I heard through my brother David that Willow had moved into a rundown apartment, scraping by on odd jobs. But a few weeks after the dinner, David told me something else, something that surprised me. "Willow came to see me," David said over coffee, his voice soft but heavy. "She was different. She said she didn't realize how much she'd hurt you, how wrong she was to support Dad. She wanted to apologize, but she was too ashamed to face you." I stared at David, a flicker of something, maybe pity, stirring in my chest, but it faded quickly. She's starting to see the truth, I thought, sipping my coffee, the bitterness still lingering in my heart. But it's too late for apologies now. She made her choice. The weeks after the dinner were a blur of paperwork and decisions.
my lawyer Rachel working tirelessly to finalize the divorce. The post-nup held firm. Nathan walked away with nothing, not a dime of alimony, not a claim to the house or my savings. His debts now his own to bear. He tried to fight it, sending desperate emails begging for forgiveness, claiming he'd made a mistake, but I deleted them without a second thought. He made his choice, I thought, signing the papers with a steady hand, my heart heavy but resolute. And now he'll live with it. Leaving Seattle was harder than I expected. The city held so many memories, good and bad, but I knew I needed a fresh start. I spent weeks packing, each item a reminder of the life I was leaving behind. The photo albums, the furniture we'd bought together, the house where I'd raised Willow. This isn't my home anymore, I thought, standing in the empty living room one last time, the echo of Nathan's betrayal still lingering in the walls.
I need to start over, somewhere new. I moved to Portland, Oregon, renting a cozy apartment near the Pearl District, the quiet streets and vibrant art scene, a balm to my wounded soul. I threw myself into my work, taking on new projects at the bank, and slowly I began to heal, the ache in my heart softening with each passing day. James Miller became a constant in my life, his steady presence a comfort as we bonded over our shared pain. We'd meet for coffee, sometimes dinner, sharing stories of our past, our losses, and slowly, our hopes for the future. One evening, as we walked along the Willamette River, the city lights reflecting on the water, James took my hand, his voice soft but sure. "Emily, I know you've been through hell, but you're the strongest woman I've ever met," he said, his eyes warm with admiration. "I'd be honored to build a future with you, if you'll have me." I felt a warmth I hadn't known in years, a flicker of hope igniting in my chest as I squeezed his hand. "I'd like that," I whispered, a smile breaking through my tears. Maybe I can love again, I thought, the river's gentle flow a quiet promise of new beginnings. A year later, I found out I was pregnant, another daughter, the little girl I'd always wanted but thought I'd never have after Willow. James and I named her Lily, a symbol of the fresh start we'd built together, and as I held her in my arms, I felt a peace I thought was lost forever. I did it, I thought, watching Lily sleep, her tiny hand wrapped around my finger. I survived Nathan's betrayal, Willow's cruelty, and I've built something beautiful from the ashes. Nathan and Willow's downfall was complete. They'd lost everything, their family, their reputation, their pride. But I'd gained something far greater, a new life, a new love, and a daughter who'd never know the pain I'd endured. I'd taken my revenge, but more than that, I'd taken back my future, and nothing would ever break me again. 6 months after that explosive family dinner in Seattle, I stood on the balcony of my Portland apartment, the Willamette River sparkling below me under the golden light of a setting sun. I'm Emily, a 45-year-old bank manager, who once thought my 25-year marriage to Nathan was unbreakable, until he forced an open marriage on me, cheated with Sophia Miller, and brought chlamydia into our home. Our daughter Willow had mocked me for not having more children, siding with her father as they planned to steal my savings and pin Nathan's debts on me. But I turned their betrayal against them, exposing their lies at my parents' dinner table, with James Miller, Sophia's father, by my side. Now, as I watched the river flow, holding my newborn daughter Lily in my arms, I felt a peace I hadn't known in years. The fallout had been brutal for Nathan and Willow, their lives unraveling like a house of cards in the wake of that dinner. Nathan's career as a lawyer was over. Clients dropped him, his reputation in Seattle's legal circles reduced to a scandalous footnote. And last I heard, he was living in a cramped apartment in Tacoma, working a dead-end job to make ends meet, his debts a constant burden.
Willow, once so proud and mocking, had dropped out of college, her friends turning on her when the truth about her father's STD and debts came out, and she was now scrapping by on minimum wage, her privileged life a distant memory. I'd heard from my brother David that Willow had shown a flicker of remorse, admitting her mistakes, but the shame kept her from reaching out to me. A small crack in her arrogance, but not enough to mend what she'd broken. My parents had cut all contact with them, their disgust at Nathan's actions a quiet support that helped me through the darkest days. I'd finalized the divorce with Rachel's help, the post-nup ensuring Nathan got nothing, not a dime of alimony, not a claim to the house or my savings. They thought they could take everything from me, I thought, gazing at Lily's peaceful face, her tiny hand wrapped around my finger. But I've taken my life back, and more. James had been my rock through it all, our shared pain forging a bond that grew into love, a love that gave me Lily, a daughter I'd always dreamed of but thought I'd never have after Willow. We'd married in a quiet ceremony in Portland, just us and a few close friends, a new beginning built on trust and healing. Sometimes I'd think of Nathan and Willow, wondering if they ever regretted what they'd done, if the shame of that dinner, the loss of their family, their pride, ever haunted them. But then I'd look at Lily, at James, at the life we were building, and those thoughts would fade, replaced by a quiet gratitude. I survived, I thought, the sunset painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, a soft breeze carrying the scent of the river. I turned their betrayal into my strength, and I'm finally free. Did Nathan and Willow ever face the full karma they deserved? I'd like to think so. Sometimes I imagine them seeing me now, living my truth, raising my daughter, and I hoped it stung.
But more than that, I hoped they'd learned what it meant to lose everything they valued, just as they tried to take everything from me. Thanks for watching this true infidelity story, everyone. It's been a journey, and I'm so grateful to share it with you. Subscribe to Yanyo's Cheating Stories for more heart-pounding Reddit stories that'll keep you hooked. Drop a comment below. Have you ever faced a betrayal that changed your life? I'd love to hear your stories. Hit that bell so you don't miss what's next, and I'll see you soon. Stay tuned for more secrets, more betrayals, and karma coming to settle the score.
Bạn sẽ làm gì nếu chồng bạn ép buộc một cuộc hôn nhân mở, lừa dối và mang về nhà một căn bệnh lây truyền qua đường tình dục, trong khi gia đình bạn chế giễu bạn vì điều đó? Tôi là Emily, một giám đốc ngân hàng 45 tuổi ở Seattle, Washington, và đó là sự phản bội đã phá vỡ cuộc hôn nhân 25 năm của tôi.